Good afternoon, Chicagoland, and welcome to another edition of the Green Radio Network. Here on the Green Radio Network, we'll bring you a variety of green topics and the latest information on green technology and transportation. This program features environmental leaders throughout northern Indiana and the entire nation. The Green Radio Network is sponsored by NERPC, the Northwestern Indiana Regional Planning Commission, and the award-winning South Shore Clean Cities. Both entities are leaders in the environmental industry and work together to bring cleaner air and more sustainable living to northern Indiana. Now to introduce Carl Lissick, Executive Director of South Shore Clean Cities and the host of the show.
Today our guest is Sheriff John Boyd, who is the Sheriff of LaPorte County. Sheriff, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's just wonderful, all the great things that are going on in LaPorte County, and again, we just want to thank you for being on our Green Radio Network. And so a lot of things that we want to talk about are just a lot of the great things and the community programs that LaPorte County is doing. And so can you tell us a little bit about some of the civic programs that are currently going on in LaPorte County?
Absolutely. Probably one of the things that we're the most proud of at the Porte County Sheriff's Office is a jail work program that we have in which we take special inmates who qualify for the program. We get them out in the community and we have them work on community projects, environmental projects, making a difference in the community in which they live, helping them pay their debt to society, but I think probably most importantly is they're learning skills and they're learning trades and they're learning to work together as part of a team to accomplish a project.
Sure. I remember there was a program in Westville with the prison there, and a lot of things that we were working on were composting and some of the things that were going on. And so we tried to get various public, private. We were trying to increase recycling rates here in LaPorte County, and we were working with the LaPorte Solid Waste Group, and we saw that as just a great thing. So tell our listeners a little, specifically some of those environmental programs.
Well, specifically, I can tell you one of the projects that we had last week where there were a number of trees that had fallen into Turtle Creek at Creek Ridge County Park, and it was disrupting fishing there, sport fishing, and it was also disrupting the habitat of the salmon and the trout that are running upstream, and the fisheries. And so we had inmate labor that went out there, and for several days they helped to cut up trees. They helped to remove trees, felled trees from the river, pull them out, and help to restore the fisheries and the habitat of Trail Creek, which is very important to LaPorte County.
Absolutely. So, like with a lot of the community groups that you do work with, so like a group like ours, we promote green and environmental endeavors. How would you suggest if there was an opportunity to work with some of these other community groups that potentially would like to reach out with you to work on some of these programs? How would they go about that?
They need to contact the Sheriff's Office at 800-548-5374, and they can ask for Jail Commander, which is Captain Derek Allen, and he can get them in touch with the coordinator of our work program, and we can evaluate the group that is requesting our assistance. We really don't do much work for-profit organizations. We mainly do them for not-for-profit. We don't want to help somebody make a profit for themselves using free labor. But there are a number of wonderful entities that are out there that desperately need our help, and our Parks Department is a great example.
Absolutely. I forgot about that, yes.
Whether it be LaPorte County Park Department or whether it be the Michigan City and LaPorte Park Department or many of our towns throughout LaPorte County. We've done a lot of work in the town of La Crosse, the town of Wanata, and several others as well, helping to restore parks, paint equipment in buildings, remove graffiti, that type of thing.
So as you talk about some of these community programs, talk a little bit about the people that work on them. Obviously, they're not high crime, offensive types of folks that are working in these programs.
Yeah, they're very low risk to reoffend. They're very low risk to escape as well. And certainly we have parameters. One of the parameters that we have is they have to be nonviolent offenders, no risk to the community in which they're going to be working. Of course, we wouldn't take somebody that was been accused of a very violent crime, such as murder, rape, robbery, child molestation, anything like that. And they had to have been sentenced for a nonviolent crime. They have to be looking at some substantial time within the jail. And we find that this is a great behavior motivator within the department, within the jail, because inmates aspire to become a member of the work crew.
Absolutely.
And if they have poor record of behavior within the jail, they know they're not going to be eligible. And it's their goal to be able to get out and be able to make a difference in the community and be able to perhaps be rewarded with the Dairy Queen midday, be able to get some good coffee at a Dunkin' Donuts, or have groups that they work for, perhaps by the McDonald's or Burger King. And word travels very quickly, and it's a very coveted spot for inmates within the jail.
And again, that's news to me, because I was just thinking, well, how could we assist LaPorte County with, maybe making donations for some of these treats, if you will, for doing some of the right things. So that's another great way of rewarding people for doing the right things. So
it is.
That's great. So anything else that you can talk about? Some of the other programs, successful programs.
Yes, unfortunately, last year it made news in the media as far away as Chicago. We actually had a Chicago television station come out and do a story about something that was unimaginable for many people, but we had somebody that was chronically dumping adult diapers on the 1,000 North corridor in northern LaPorte County. It stretched from Springfield Township through Galena Township into Hudson Township, three of our most beautiful townships in LaPorte County. And they were dumping thousands of adult diapers over a period of about 6 or 8 months, and it was filthy. They were dropping them right in the middle of the roadway. Cars were hitting them, scattering them. There were a number of animals that were getting into the diapers that were soiled and breaking them open and spreading them. They were hit by snowplows and the wind. You can imagine it was an awful mess. And our inmate labor went out and picked up thousands of adult diapers in that corridor. They would spend sometimes 3 days a week out picking up those adult diapers, and they really helped to improve the community. And of course, that's just an awful biohazard, and it looks awful. It was rather unique because we put out a news release that we were looking for any information for the person that was dumping these diapers, and asking the public's help for any information that they could provide us. And one of the producers of the Channel 7 News in Chicago said, ironically, I got your news release, wouldn't think much of it. How does this relate to news going on in Chicago? But my husband and I were on our way down, I think it's called 1,000 North in LaPorte County, going to the Heston Supper Club. And we saw all of these diapers along the roadway, and she said it was absolutely horrible. I was so appalled by it. We're coming out and we're going to do a story on it. I think it's great that your inmate labor is going out and doing that. And, our inmates went out, and it's not a fun job. And nonetheless, they went out and they did it. And they had a smile on their face every day because they knew they were making a difference, and they were helping to improve the environment and helping to improve the community. And they knew they were paying a debt to society as well. But that's just one example of the many things that they go out and do, jobs that you and I wouldn't want to do.
Sure, absolutely. I have to ask, did they ever catch the culprit?
No, we did not. However, it did stop. We don't know if perhaps it was because the person that was soiling the diapers perhaps passed on, maybe they went into assisted living, or if there was enough pressure and we had a number of deputies that were out working diligently trying to locate the person that was responsible, stopping a lot of cars along that corridor. So we don't know if the message was a deterrent or if the person just passed on or what.
Wow. So as you talk about some of these programs, and how do you advertise for this? I mean, how do you
really
get the word out?
We don't have to. Word of mouth. People see what's going on, and it started years ago. Sheriff Bob Blair in the 1990s really stepped up our work program, and at that time we were going out, and our work crew was going out and shoveling driveways and sidewalks for handicapped and elderly people. And it just started to spread from there, and then it developed into raking leaves and mowing grass for elderly and disabled people as well. It transitioned into going into communities and working for parks and helping non-for-profit organizations. We've really moved away from shoveling snow and clearing driveways and mowing lawns because we found that our inmate work crew was being taken advantage of.
Yeah, it sounds like they could be very easily.
At one point, we had 100 homes that we were shoveling their driveways and clearing sidewalks from Michigan City to La Crosse. We're putting a lot of miles on, and our work crews are working from 6 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. And we can't work them to death. That's not the design of the program. And we're having people that we may perhaps clear the driveway at 6:30 in the morning. By 2 o'clock and it's snowed again, and we're calling and complaining that we needed to clear the driveway again when we hadn't even made the first round. We just didn't have enough inmate labor, enough vehicles, enough supervision. So we had to curtail that. We just got too many complaints that we weren't keeping up with it, and try as we might, we just couldn't.
So how does the future look for this program? I mean, obviously it sounds it's made a huge impact in the quality of life here in LaPorte County. Do you see any other opportunities to continue to expand that role?
Yes, and that's something that we would like to do. However, we need another vehicle to do it, and we need another jail officer to supervise these inmates, because we just can't open the doors of the jail and say to the inmates, here's your assignment for the day, go out and do it. We do have to have supervision there. And certainly we need additional tools as well. And one of the things that we found is, for instance, we help to take care of the grounds of the LaPorte County Fairgrounds. And it's beautiful grounds, but it's big. We do a lot of weed whacking, tree trimming, that type of thing out there. But we were burning up equipment, and I don't think the taxpayer should have to pay for that. So we do ask some of these groups to provide some of the tools that we need to do it, and provide gasoline as well, because that comes out of our budget. Depending on the group who we're working for, if it's the Parks Department, it's all county government money. We'll be happy to provide whatever we can, but they have a number of tools as well. So that's just one of the things that we ask for.
Very interesting. And again, I apologize for my ignorance, because a lot of times you see folks working on the highways and in the different parks, and just never really realized what the program was and how it was really making such a big impact on our community. So thank you for that.
It is, and I think the thing that I'm the most proud of with the program is our recidivism rate is very low, and it's because these gentlemen that are out there are they're building their self-esteem, and I see them almost every afternoon when they come in from doing their jobs, and they're so eager to report to me what successes that they had and what projects they worked on, and they're so proud to relate that. And they're so happy when they get a kudos and accolades for that, or if they go out and happen to take a Dairy Queen or a milkshake as a reward and say, we notice what you're doing. They love the fact that they hear that we're posting it on social media so the public is aware of this. But many of them are gainfully employed when they're released. And I can give you an example of a great success story. Several weeks ago, the Pyrotechnics Guild International came to LaPorte County. A huge fireworks show that we had at the fairgrounds. And we provided a lot of inmate labor for some of the projects going on out there. And there were thousands of people from PGI that came. And one of the gentlemen involved in PGI owns a construction company. And if my memory serves me correctly, he has a construction company in Sturgis, Michigan. And he pulled me aside and he said, I just want to tell you about your inmate work group. He said, their work ethic is second to none.
Wow.
And he said, I got my eye on a guy over here, and he pointed to the inmate, and he said, this guy is a worker. And I hope you don't mind, but I told him that when he's released, I want him to look me up, because he's got a job with my company.
That's wonderful.
And since then, since PGI, and since the fair has been over, we've had 2 inmates that have successfully completed their time, and they've been released from incarceration, and those 2 that were most recently released are now employed by the LaPorte County Fair Board, working out there, because the Fair Board saw the kind of work that they were getting from these gentlemen. And we've also found that when they're employed, they're less likely to reoffend. Wow. And we're really happy. Many of these inmates, when they come in, they are raw. Some of them, believe it or not, don't even know how to work a broom. They don't know how to work a mop, but we teach them these skills, these valuable skills, to make them marketable. So when they're released, they have something to look forward to. And we all need something to look forward to, especially inmates. And we want to keep them busy, and we want to make them productive members of society. But most importantly, they want to be productive members of society as well.
I totally believe that, and I think that that the work that's going on in LaPorte County is is exemplary. I just think when you look at some of the things that all we hear is about the negative things. We don't hear about the positive things that are going on in our community. So I applaud you, and I applaud your staff members, because this is really making a difference in Northwest Indiana. So you're listening to the Green Radio Network here on AM 1420 WIMS Radio. I'm your host, Carl Lissick. We'll be right back with Sheriff John Boyd right after this.
There's nothing more important than spending time outdoors with your family. That's why it's so important to do whatever you can to keep our air clean. It's good for the environment and good for the health of your friends and family. Take a closer look at how poor quality is affecting our community. Across the 3 counties of Northwest Indiana, recent studies from the American Lung Association show that 9% of adults suffer from asthma, 4% live with chronic bronchitis, 38% have a form of cardiovascular disease, and 10% of the children in Lake and LaPorte counties struggle with pediatric asthma. Now, the number of adults with asthma is nearly that of adults with diabetes. Consider how diabetics make adjustments to their diet in order to be as healthy as possible. Everyone can make adjustments to improve air quality and the quality of life for those who live with asthma and other lung diseases. Northwest Indiana, clean air, think green, breathe easy. A message from NERPC.
Welcome back to the Green Radio Network here on AM 1420 WIMS Radio. I'm your host, Carl Lissick of South Shore Clean Cities, here to bring you the latest information on green projects and topics across the nation. Our guest today is Sheriff John Boyd, and he's with the Porte County Sheriff's Office. And Sheriff, we're just talking about all the great things that are going on in our community. So I know one thing that's really been on our mind, and again, we talk about the religious community and the community outreach types of programs, but it's the heroin epidemic, and I feel very ignorant as my family is grown. We've had some very good family members, kids that my young people that have graduated with my kids in school came from great families that have had heroin issues, and I just feel like what types of programs we as the community could be assisting law enforcement in general on the heroin epidemic.
Well, I think most importantly is if you see it, report it. Mm-hmm. And as I alluded to earlier, no one knows suspicious activity in the community better than the people that live in that community.
Sure.
We may have 3 police officers drive down a specific street in a period of a 24-hour time period, but they probably aren't picking up on what might be suspicious to the neighbors. So you have to feel confident to be able to report what's going on in your neighborhood. Mm-hmm. You can do it anonymously by calling your local law enforcement, or if it is enough of an emergency you feel as though you need to call 911. And again, we'll treat that complaint anonymously. But we're very reliant on the public to partner with us and trust us and to call us and get involved.
Mm-hmm. As technology is expanding, and again, I know with social media to the difference in iPhones, and I think with all the things that are going on in law enforcement, how do you stay on top of all the trends, all the changes that are going on in technology?
It's not easy.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
No, it's not. Constant training for our staff, and things are evolving so rapidly, especially with computers. When I started in law enforcement, we had manual typewriters.
Wow.
I'll never forget on Friday and Saturday nights when we didn't have access to new ribbons, we would have to take the ribbons out of the typewriters, and we would take them into the bathroom and wet them down so we could finish a report, put it back in and rewind them manually. And then we got electric typewriters, and we thought that was really cool. I'm not that old. I'm 50 years old. I've been in law enforcement for 28 years. But now all of our deputies have mobile data terminals in their cars, and they can transmit a report remotely from wherever they are in LaPorte County, whereas before we would have to come in and actually type a report. Now, for the most part, we're paperless, and even the media is able to access our reports remotely. They don't have to. They no longer have to come to the police department and look at the paper reports that we have. It's amazing how much we've evolved, but it's amazing how we no sooner get technology, and that technology seems to have already passed us by, and it's evolving so quickly.
Sure, and again, it's just staying on top of it. And I know with just the day-to-day activities that law enforcement has, it's just encouraging to hear all these different things that are going on with our community. So one of the things that we want to talk about too is the triad program that you were working on. Can you explain that to our listeners?
Yes, I'm a former board member. When I was elected sheriff, I appointed my chief deputy, Ron Heeg, to become a representative from the Porte County Sheriff's Office. Mm-hmm. The triad is a cooperative triangle, and that's why they call it triad, with law enforcement, with the community, and with seniors or disadvantaged adults. And primarily what we do is we assist seniors in triad. We also have a component where we help to track people that have Alzheimer's or dementia, and we outfit them with a tracking device in case they do wander, and they can be located quickly, so hopefully a tragedy doesn't occur. We also participate in a pill drop, which has been amazingly successful in LaPorte County, and I'll talk a little bit about that. The 3 major police departments in LaPorte County, the LaPorte Police Department, the Michigan City Police Department, and the LaPorte County Sheriff's Office, all have a pill drop box. in the lobbies of their departments.
Okay.
And the public is able to come in and they're able to dispose of unwanted medicines without any questions, and then we have it incinerated about on a quarterly basis. It's amazing how much unwanted medicines that we take in, and there are real distinct advantages to that program. Number one, we're keeping them off the street, keeping them out of the hands of people that would abuse them. And we know that we have a number of residential burglaries that occur with the sole item that is being targeted are medicines inside a home. And oftentimes people will take medicines and they get better, they no longer need them, they leave them in their medicine cabinet.
Absolutely.
And then perhaps a grandson, granddaughter, son, daughter, a visitor in the home or someone that breaks in have nefarious ideals with those, and by having the toll drop, we're able to keep them out of the hands of people that would be abusing them. But also, another advantage is that we're keeping them out of the water system and the wastewater system and out of our septic systems. We found, research tells us, science tells us that they are amazingly hazardous to water filtration systems, to groundwater, and to septic systems, and they'll kill the microbes. Many medicines will kill the microbes in septic systems, and we have a lot of septic systems in the rural areas of LaPorte County, so we're helping the environment as well. And then we take these medicines on a quarterly basis, and we take them to a licensed incinerator, and that it's an approved method by the DEA and the environmental management, and we're able to incinerate those and keep them out of the environment.
Well, and do you have to be a resident of LaPorte County to take advantage of this?
No,
great.
Anybody can come to the 3 major police departments and drop them off. We never ask any questions. In fact, we encourage them to drop them off. Oftentimes, in fact, I checked our drop box this morning, just ironic that we're talking about it, and it's overflowing just from the weekend.
Wow.
And we have a hard time keeping up with it. We empty it every single day. That's how many medicines, or how much medicines that we get. Just the sheriff's office, we average about 120 to 180 pounds of unused medicines a quarter that we take in, and that's after they're separated from the bottles.
Wow.
As we separate them, we recycle the bottles, and we then take the unused medicines in boxes and have it incinerated. It really is amazing.
That is amazing. Sheriff, give us your website again.
We're located at LaPorteCountySheriff.com. www.laportecountysheriff.com.
Right, and in any of these community programs that we've talked about, again, give that phone number.
800-548-5374.
So let's fast forward 5 years from now. What do you think law enforcement is going to look like in LaPorte County?
It's a tough question because technology is evolving so quickly as our criminals that we're trying to keep up with. I see LaPorte County as probably our number one industry will be tourism, and that brings a lot of people, and with a lot of people bring problems as well, and you need people to handle people. Law enforcement, we're never going to get automated, and we're never going to get laid off, and while some communities have gone to cameras, I'm not one of those that believe in red light cameras or speed cameras either. I believe in the one-on-one contact. I believe everybody has a chance to be able to talk to an officer that stops them for a violation. So that's something that you'll not see in our administration is us going to red light cameras. It's too impersonal. I hear too many complaints from people that say, I got a ticket for blowing a red light. I didn't remember being there. And I know sometimes there are also issues with we don't cite a vehicle, we cite a driver and try to determine who was driving the vehicle. I don't think it's fair to send somebody a ticket because their vehicle ran a red light and be able to assess them for a violation that they maybe weren't involved in. And so you're not going to see us evolving into that, but I think cameras are important to document what's taking place within communities. Certainly, you will see the LaPorte County Sheriff's Office, not only will we have dash video, but we'll have body cameras as well. Currently, we do not, and we're following the state legislature right now, and we're very interested to see if there'll be a funding mechanism that will be in place for us to have body cameras. I don't want to go out and spend $750,000 on new dash videos, cameras and body cameras if there's a funding mechanism where we can offset that cost. But at some point we're going to need to start making the decision as to what we're going to do because we've been waiting now for about a year and a half to see if there'll be a funding mechanism in place. We'll be researching some grants, but I think that's very important for transparency. It helps to keep the public safe, and it helps to keep our deputies safe as well, having those cameras in place. Absolutely.
As we come to the end of our show, is there any closing thoughts that you might have?
I just want to tell you that we in law enforcement simply cannot do our job alone. It used to be where we were trusted to do it and we were expected to do it. And while I would hope that the public would trust us to continue to do it, the public needs to know that we need the public more than the public needs us. We need to partner, and we also, the public needs to know that we can be trusted and we trust them as well. And as I said earlier at the beginning of the program, if you see it, report it. And don't hesitate to reach out to your local law enforcement, whether it be through email, through social media, or through telephone contact or an in-person visit, and talk to us about what's going on. It's one of the things we've been doing throughout LaPorte County is we've been having town hall style meetings, so we can reach out to the public, because we can't paint law enforcement with a broad brush here in LaPorte County. LaPorte County is one of the most diverse counties in all of Indiana. You consider that in the La Crosse area, a person's neighbor may be a mile away. Their closest neighbor. When you come up here to Michigan City and it's more urban, the closest neighbor may be a matter of 10 or 12 feet away. The manner of policing is much different. The needs of the people in northern LaPorte County are much different than the needs of the people in southern LaPorte County, and we need to be aware of that. We need to find out what's going on in those communities, and that's why we're having these community meetings throughout the county.
Well, Sheriff, thank you again for your time today. Keep up the great work. We look forward to having you on future shows of the Green Radio Network, and that will do it for today's edition of the Green Radio Network. I've been your host, Carl Lissick, and thanks again to our guest, Sheriff John Boyd. And please listen to our upcoming Green Radio Network, as we're going to be talking about a variety of new opportunities for our communities. So thank you. Bye-bye.